Good morning, guys. It looks like the really hot days are done for now. It'll just be pretty hot instead. Now, even though it won't be super hot anymore, make sure you're still drinking plenty of water. Your body needs lots of water to stay healthy, and it being hot outside makes your body need more water to stay healthy. Have you guys been able to watch some cool new movies or TV shows during this time? I finally got to see that musical called Hamilton, and it was pretty good. It's on Disney Plus. So if you have Disney Plus and if your mom or dad says it's okay for you to watch it, I'd say go ahead and watch it. It's pretty long, but it's got a lot of good songs and some neat dancing in it. It's also got a good story talking about when America was young and fighting to get independence from Britain and kind of the stuff that happened right after that. Also, Kristen gave me a haircut because my hair was getting way too long and poofy and looked silly a lot, especially when it was windy outside. My hair would just go poof and it looked kind of dumb. She also cut off all of Conan's hair because he wanted to be bald. He looks a little silly, but he thinks it's cool, so I'm okay with it. Let's do our opening together. Repeat after me if you'd like, or just do the hand symbols with me. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are the church of the open mind, the loving heart, and the helping hands. Together we care for our earth and work for friendship and peace in our world. Let's begin. Last week we talked about making fair group decisions, and we're going to talk a little more about making group decisions and helping to make sure that we act fairly when we're part of making a decision. There are a lot of ways to make a decision for a group. Last week, we went over a couple of these, like one person making the decision and everyone else voting for that decision. Let's get a little more detailed about them today. Now, the first one I talked about where one person makes all the decisions, is called authority. Like I said, that's when one person makes the decisions for a group. This can be good, like when a decision needs to be made real quick, when the group has decided that there's someone that they trust to make a decision for them, or like if there's someone in the group that knows a lot more about something than anyone else in the group, they can make the decision for the group, and usually that's okay. For example, your parents are an authority, and they make a lot of the decisions for you, and that's because they love you and know a lot more about what should be done than you do. They know you're still learning and want to make sure that you guys eat, bathe, brush your teeth, and do other things that are good for you. It's the same thing with your teachers and other adults in your life that care about you and want you to succeed. It can also be easier because not everyone has to make a decision and they don't have to figure out how to decide whose choice to go with. If there's 100 different people and they want 100 different things, that can be difficult to deal with. Sometimes if you have just one person in charge making the decisions, it just makes everything easier. However, the authority method can be bad. A bad or selfish person can be in charge and make things bad for everyone in the group. When a bad person is in charge, they can make decisions that are good for them, but bad for everyone else. Let's say one of your friends was in charge of picking what kind of pizza you guys were going to eat that night, and they loved mushroom pizza, but nobody else liked mushroom pizza. That friend, since they're in charge, they can just decide to get a bunch of mushroom pizzas because it makes them happy, even if everyone else is upset by it. The next method is called majority, and that is when everyone says what they want to do and whatever gets the most votes wins. I talked about this last week when I talked about democracy. Democracy is a system where everyone gets to vote on what they want, and we use it to vote for government stuff like president, as well as a lot of other things, like if the teacher is asking you guys what movie you want to watch that day in class. This can be a pretty good thing because it makes sure that the most wanted thing gets done. If only one person wants mushroom pizza, but everybody else wants pepperoni, using the majority method can make sure that pepperoni pizza gets ordered. It also makes sure that everyone gets a chance to say what they want and vote for it. It gives them a voice. It can be a pretty fair system. However, it can also be abused. If you guys remember from last week, I told you guys about how women and black people weren't able to vote for a president or any other sort of government thing for a long time. That means that there were a lot of people that weren't able to have their voices heard when it came time to vote, which isn't fair. Also, if I'm a strong guy, I can bully you into voting the way I want you to vote instead of voting the way you want to vote. Or if I'm really rich, I can bribe you, I can pay you money to vote the way I want you to vote instead of voting the way you want to vote. And it's both those are it's called fraud, but it's not fair. Both of these things can make the results of voting not really show what people actually wanted. Now, the third way we make a group decision is through consensus, which is when everyone talks about the choice and they all agree on the same thing. If you and all of your friends want the same kind of pizza, that's a consensus. If you and all your friends want to play Mario Kart, that's the game all of you want to play, nothing else, that's also a consensus. It's a really great way to come to a decision because it's what everyone wants, so it makes it the most fair. But for a large group, getting a consensus probably isn't going to happen because we're all different people and we all want different things. So that's why the majority method is used for large groups. Now, if there's 3 or 4 people, maybe up to 10, getting a consensus isn't a big deal. But when you have a few hundred or a few thousand or even a few million people, you can't get a consensus for most things. Maybe everyone can agree that being able to breathe is good, but that's, about it. Also, a consensus can take a long time because every person needs to want the same thing for it to happen. So you may have to convince someone to make the same choice as you without bullying them or bribing them, of course. But, if they're kind of undecided, you may have to convince them that, they need to vote this way. And that can take a lot of time. So while a consensus is great, it's also the one that is the worst for larger groups of people as far as being efficient and fast. So these are the 3 ways that we can make group decisions, and all of them have good things and bad things about them. There are other ways to make decisions, like in the story when Dr. Lou had everyone vote 3 times, but the 3 I talked about you today are the ones that you're going to see most in your life. So that's it for today, you guys. I hope you can use this information to help you make fair decisions in life. Part of being a universal Unitarian is making sure that others are fairly treated and they get to have a voice when it comes to making a decision. So make sure you try your hardest to, follow the principles of being you. So anyway, stay safe, stay healthy, be respectful, be kind, keep your dirty fingers out of your dirty noses, and I'll talk to you guys again next week. Later.